Hey Eurovision fans, which 10 countries do the community think are going to qualify from semi-final number 2 of Eurovision 2025? I'm going to show you the results of the polls that I put up on the community page of my channel. So let's kiki. Hi, my name is Tom. I'm an Irish Eurovision analyst and you can find all of this stuff on my Eurovision channel. Quick update on upcoming videos. I have filmed my next Eurovision odds update. That video takes quite a long time to edit and write, so I wanted to put this one up first because it's a little bit quicker. I'm trying to get a video out every single day so that I can stay on schedule. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that video when it pops up. It's going to be a juicy one. Lots of juicy odds. Quick reminder about what this is. I put polls up onto the community section of my channel. It was a very simple binary. Is this country going to qualify or not? Very simple yes or no answer. And I'm going to be showing the percentages of the people who said yes. As a little bit of a side fun thing, I'm also going to say whether I feel more or less confident than that percentage. That's not what you're voting on. You were literally voting on yes or no. I'm not equating the two things. It's just a fun thing on the side. I'm aware that there's a difference. I didn't explain that clearly in my first video. Of course, thank you to everyone who voted in these polls. In total, we had over 47,000 unique votes and quite a large range in how many votes each country got. We had as low as 2,300 votes for Australia to the highest, which was 3,900 votes for Finland. So interesting to see that not everyone wanted to vote on each one. Now, Australia would have been at the bottom of the list and Finland would have been at the top of the list, but there wasn't a clear pattern of the most down to the least. Okay, first up, let's go to the country that had the highest yes percentage, and that was with 95% if you think that Finland is going to qualify through to the final. Erika Wikman, one of the favorites to win the semi-final in the closing running order slot. She's got a wonderful show, extremely reliable performer, great energy and confidence on the stage. I agree. I also put this through as one of my top qualifiers. Okay, am I more or less confident than 95%? I'm just emphasizing, I know that you aren't 95% sure. I am more confident. I am 99.9% sure about Finland going into the final. Number 2, also with 95%, but losing the first tiebreaker, was Austria. JJ, also 95% of people think that this will be in the Eurovision final. Wasted Love. Am I more or less confident than 95% for Austria? A little bit more. You know, I'm not like as confident as I am with Erika. You know, there's a slight tinge of doubt. Some people just find the vocals off-putting. I have seen that said a lot. But I think that the whole thing is going to be so weird and wonderful and wow. Yeah, I'm 99% for this. The third most yes voted country to qualify for the final with 2,900 votes, 90% of them yes, is Malta. Mariana Conte singing Serving. Amazing to see Malta so high in a poll. Third, this is so wonderful. I think if you're a Maltese fan, this is such an enjoyable year for the contest, especially after the heartbreak of coming last in the semi-finals in the last 2 years. So really, really happy for Mariana. Hopefully this will turn into an actual qualification. I think the huge Eurofan support, I think a lot of casuals will enjoy this as well. Hopefully we see Malta in the final. 90% of you think this is going through. Am I more or less confident than 90%? I would say probably around 90%. There's still that slight nagging thing in my head that people don't get it, or there's some people who might think it's not family friendly. And then just also Malta's record recently with the televote isn't great. I'm not 100% sure. I'm around 90. Also receiving 2,900 votes. 89% of them being yes. We have Adonis for Czechia. He is the 4th highest qualifier in the community polls. I agree with this. I think that he's got a really, really great package. Wonderful performer. He's been doing great in the pre-parties. And the Czech delegation are very good at doing edgy, different looking staging. One of the best countries for doing that. And they always provide something unique, and I think that they'll continue to do this. Am I more or less confident than 89%? I think I'm a little bit more than 89. I think it would be quite a shock for me if this didn't make it through. I don't think it's going to win the semi-final round thing, but I think it'll be safely in the middle. I think it's very entertaining. Okay, in 5th spot, with only 2,300 votes. Sorry, I kind of spoiled who this is. With 87% of them being yes, it's the song that's opening up the semi-final. It is Gojo, Milkshake Man. I don't know why this got so few votes. Again, it could be because it was the first poll and maybe just didn't see it or something because it came straight after the last song from the last semi-final, which was Cyprus. Also, potentially some people not sure. I think this will be a really memorable opener. Very fun. I think casuals will really enjoy this. 87, am I more or less confident than 87%? I am, think I'm around 87. Small doubt just because it's opening up the show. Plus, there is this hypothesis that people are less willing to vote for Australia. So that sticks in the back of my mind as well. But I think it definitely deserves to be in the final. Okay, our 6th highest qualifier, very, very close behind, 2,900 votes, 86% of them are yes, is Greece, Klavdia, Asteromata. Really great package. I think Greece have shown that they are able to qualify good songs when they have them. They have a very solid record. Apart from Onere Mu, that was a great song. The stage wasn't great though. But that was quite a while ago, and that was a very difficult semi-final. So generally when Greece have a strong package that you would expect to see in the final, they convert it. They've got a great conversion record is what I'm saying. Am I more or less confident than 86%? I think I'm a little bit more. I feel like this, I don't think this is going to be like in the top of the semi-final. I would be very surprised if this didn't go through. So I'm maybe a little bit more confident than 86. Next up, let's go to the 7th most likely qualifier with 2,800 votes. It is Israel. I think a little bit of a small bit of a protest vote here. Yeah, like I think most people realize that based on what happened last year, that we're very likely to see this in the final. Am I more or less confident than 81%? I'm more confident, particularly if we have this vote 20 times campaign that we had last year as well. In the 8th most likely spot with 2,700 votes, 75% of you saying yes is Lithuania. Catharsis singing Tavo Akis. I'm getting so many mixed messages about this. Anytime I post anything about who's going to qualify, I'm like, Lithuania should be a definite yes. And then I have people saying Lithuania should be a definite no. It's so polarizing. But I think being polarizing is good. You want people to have an opinion on your song. That's better than just forgetting that it exists. So being polarizing is good for the televote. It's not as good for the jury, but that's something that Lithuania can worry about when they get to the final. Only real pure rock song. They've got a whole niche to themselves. Pretty decent running order. Am I more or less confident than 75? I think I'm a little bit more confident, but I just need to see that support from the Lithuanian diaspora. I want to see that like activism, and then I'll be even more confident. But I think that this would definitely be a wonderful addition to the final. Giving more variety, more representation. I think we need it in the final, really. Otherwise, we have no pure rock songs in the final. Okay, in 9th spot, we have our first disagreement with 2,800 votes. 62% of you saying yes is Denmark, Sasal Hallucination. I definitely agree that this is possible, but the delegation needs to step up. Sasal's going to deliver. I feel like maybe there's a little bit of wishful thinking here. It is hard to do these predictions and try and take away your desires. I was very conscious about that when I was doing my video. I always look at the 10 I've picked and say, okay, is this what I want or is this what I think is going to happen? So I was trying to step back, and it is really difficult to do, to try and separate those two things because they're so entangled. I think there's a little bit of wishful thinking here, but hopefully Denmark stepped up and uncharacteristically delivers. The song has a cool theme that could definitely have WoW staging if they were creative enough. Let's see what they can do. Am I more or less confident than that? I'm less confident than that. If we go by patterns, the Danish delegation needs to break a pattern that's existed for almost a decade. It's possible, but what's more likely is that the pattern continues. In your 10th spot, okay, this is where things got really, really messy now. In the 10th spot, we had a pure draw. There were two countries who had the same percentage. I have a couple of tiebreakers I use, which is the amount of people who voted. That was the same. And my second tiebreaker is what were the results the last time I updated the polls. Both of these two countries were also the same. So I had to put up a poll on my Twitter, draw between the two. I only put it up a couple of minutes ago, but we have enough votes that I think I can call it. The two countries are Latvia, Tautu Metas, Burman and Laura Thorne. And in the end, the winner was Laura Thorne. She got 56% of the votes. Tautu Metas got 44%. There was a point where it was 50-50, and I was like, just give me a break here. Based off of that tiebreaker, your 10th qualifier is Laura Thorne from Luxembourg on 58%. Well, I totally agree. Like this, if it came down to these two qualifying for the last spot, that is 1,000,000,000% believable for me. Like I said in my prediction video, there's this absolute chaos in the middle where I can see every single combination of people going through. You know, if there's 7, 8 people competing for those spots, the permutations on that, I don't want to work it out, but I'm sure it goes into the thousands. You put Laura Thorne through, definitely think she could go. Think this has super broad appeal, lovely nostalgic feel, which I don't think anyone. Serbia is giving nostalgia as well. Is anyone else serving nostalgia? I don't think Australia is. That feels more retro rather than nostalgia. Israel's entry is kind of dated, so that's a little bit of nostalgia as well. Denmark's tiny bit nostalgic dated. No, I think Luxembourg really is the main. We're giving nostalgia for old school Eurovision. Still with some modern touches to it, but I'm saying it in a positive way. And that means that on our third tiebreak, the 11th country, the first non-qualifier is Latvia, also with 58%, also with 2,800 votes. Definitely they can make it through. They can deliver wonderful, magical fairy staging. I want to see mystical fairy. I think if they lean into that, I think they're going to feel so different from everyone else in the semi-final. So now let's go to the bottom 5 countries. And there's a huge drop off here. You're going to see, if you look at this graph, there's a huge cut where we have 5 countries which the community considers to have a much lower chance than the rest. The first of those getting 3,300 votes. So this was the country with the second most votes, joint second with Austria and one other country coming up, is Ireland. 24% of you think that this is going to go through. For me, the big thing with Ireland is when I come out of the dress rehearsals, my reaction needs to be, oh wow, that was really good. That literally needs to be like what my reaction is. It can't be, that was fine, that was like Eurosong. It needs to be surprise. I need to be surprised in the same way that when I saw Bambi Thug staging, I was like, gooped. Wow. It doesn't need to be that extreme. Bambi was incredible, but it needs to be in that same category of surprise. That's what puts this in contention to qualify, in my opinion, is elevation, a little bit of shock. Hopefully Marvin Dietman and Emmy can deliver, but currently this is 12th in the qualification rankings with 24%. Am I more or less confident than 24? Oh, I've got to do that for Latvia. 58%, I'm kind of around there. And Luxembourg, I'm 58% as well. I really do think that these countries that are super even. Ireland, am I more or less confident than 24%? Yeah, I'd be a little bit more confident than this. I think it does have potential. I think there's a huge head-to-head here with Ireland and Luxembourg going for a broad, skewing a little bit younger vote. So if Luxembourg slips up, Luxembourg has the last say because they're later in the running order. But if Luxembourg slips up, I definitely think that people could remember Ireland. So they could affect each other. In 13th spot with 2,900 votes, 22% is Serbia. It's Mila. I put this through as a borderline yes. 22% of you think that this will be through. He's got a couple of niches. Only male ballad in the second half. One of only 2 male artists. Great running order. Serbia always top 11 in semi-finals. But the song is one of the weakest that Serbia's had in a long time. So 22% of you think, am I more or less confident? I'm more confident than 22%. On the flip side, I wouldn't be surprised if this did break Serbia's top 11 streak and this came 12th or 13th. Let's not go too far to the next country with 3,000 votes. 20% think that Montenegro will go through. Quite kind of nice to see so many people believing in Montenegro. Is there, again, a little bit of wishful thinking here? Or could there be a little bit of a fan campaign to get through, really rooting for Montenegro on their return? I wonder how much the presenters are going to make a big deal about their return. You know, they really announced it with Luxembourg, like, welcome back to the contest. Are they going to do the same with Montenegro? Because that could help a little bit. Yes, 20% of you think that Montenegro will be through. I think I'd agree with that percentage. I think it's possible, but we do need Montenegro to be uncharacteristically wow with the staging. Okay, in 15th spot, with 2,700 votes, is Armenia. Parg singing Survivor. I'm surprised this is lower than I was expecting. Same percentage as Nina Zizic, but she had more people voting in her poll, so she won the tiebreaker. Yeah, I think that's possibly a little bit too low. Like I said, look at this drop off after Lithuania, Denmark, Latvia, and Luxembourg. Lots of L's. We have this huge swoop down to these bottom 5 countries. Yeah, someone pointing out to me on Twitter as well that Georgia's going to give this good points, and so will Israel as well. So it kind of depends, how many points do you need to qualify? I'm going to do a video about this as well. How many points is generally needed to qualify from a semi-final? But it can be as low as 40 in a 16-person semi-final. It can be as high as 70. I think Alika had 72 or 73 points when she qualified in 10th spot from her semi-final. So it depends how many televote hogs there are. If you have a couple of people at the top who are hogging the points, you need less points to get through. Whereas if you don't have that, you need more points to get through because the points are more dispersed. If people like Erica Wiekman and JJ and Marianne Conte are just hogging points, then you need less points to qualify. And then diaspora voting and neighborly voting becomes more relevant because you can qualify with 40 points. And if someone like Armenia is getting points from Israel and Georgia, that's like 20, 24 points. They're already halfway there. So there's a little bit of luck in what happens in the rest of the semi-final. Am I more or less confident 20%? I'm more confident 20%. But again, that's not what you were voting. You were just voting yes, in or out. And I also voted out on this as well. Finally, with 3,300 votes, which was joint second highest number in the entire semi-final. 3% yes is Georgia. So this is what makes me think that some people were picking the polls that they felt the most confident about, because you can see pretty much everyone believes that this can qualify and has one of the most votes. So I think some people skimming through felt confident about this one, so voted on, and then other ones not so confident. 3% people, I don't think it's impossible, but I think if she was in semi-final number 1, she would have a way easier job, because this would be super unique in semi-final number 1, and it's not unique in semi-final number 2. Okay, let's zoom out and have a look at these 10 qualifiers. Yeah, I'm interested by the fact there is this drop-off, but of the people with low percentages, I definitely think Ireland, Serbia, Armenia are in with the shot as well. I also might do a video looking at these polls from previous years. I'll see if I've got enough data to work with. I think I've done some of them before and after rehearsal, so we can look and see how right they were. But obviously, we're all voting on limited information here. We haven't seen the rehearsals yet. So I would expect us to be wrong because we haven't seen the full package yet. Okay, what did you think about these community poll results? Who surprised you? Who didn't surprise you? Leave a comment in the comment section below. Thank you to those who've been supporting me on PayPal and Buy Me Coffee. If you want to support the channel, I'll leave a QR code for you here and a link in the description. And of course, thank you to my wonderful patrons for patronizing me from all around the world. On my Patreon, you can get loads and loads and loads of cool Eurovision stuff. Go check it out if you're a fan. But of course, thank you so much just for being here. I'm seeing another Eurovision analysis video very, very, very soon. Goodbye.